Hey everybody, down or synthetic? Now that's a popular question when it comes to choosing a jacket or a vest. While it's probably best to have both a good down jacket and a nice synthetic jacket in your arsenal, there are definitely ideal situations and conditions for using each. In this episode, not only are we going to look at the pros and cons, but also which is the best insulation for you. First, let's look at down. Down is not feathers. Down is made from geese or duck plumage that is found underneath the feathers that are wispy, lofty, and fluffy. The down creates high loft clusters that traps warm air from your body heat from escaping. The loft or fill power is created by how many cubic inches 1 ounce of down can fill. They are stored in chambers that are sewn in the jacket. So what is this fill power thing, and what's the difference between 700 and 900 fill? Well, fill is a measurement that is used to determine the loft of down. Loft is the amount of puff or fluff or the thickness down has. For instance, if a jacket has 700 fill, it means that it has 700 cubic inches of loft. If a jacket has 900 fill, that means it has 900 cubic inches of loft. So let's look at a picture that will show the different types of down with the different fill power. Now this picture I'm going to show you, you'll see that the different down with the different fill power will show you that 650 fill power jacket will need more down to create the same warmth that of a 900 fill jacket because it fills less space. That 650 fill jacket will be heavier because it needs more down to fill that space compared to the 900 fill jacket. So I know that's a lot of information. So in a nutshell, the higher the fill power typically means the lighter the jacket, and in most cases, the warmer the jacket. And the higher the fill power, the higher the cost. $300? Come on, man! Down can be compressed and quickly loft back up. You can compress down to a very small size, which means it's not only lighter in the pack, but will not take up that much room. Over the years, there have been developments for many different chemical applications for water-resistant treatment, which allows down to resist light moisture without compromising loft. However, if submerged in water or exposed to heavy rain, now that the down is clumped together, the loft is gone that produces all that warmth. Even treated down will get wet. Down has a higher warmth to weight ratio, which means it's lighter than synthetic insulation, and it is very compressible. And believe it or not, down is more durable. With proper care, a down jacket or sleeping bag can last for decades. A con for down is that it loses its insulation properties when it gets wet. And when it's soaking wet, it is worthless. And it also takes a long time to dry. And the best way to dry it is to throw it in the dryer with 3 tennis balls to break up those wet clumps of feathers. Down is not hypoallergenic, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And also when it comes to purchasing a jacket, down is very expensive than synthetic. Now for synthetic. Synthetic insulation is designed to replicate the qualities of down. It is made out of polyester fibers that are arranged in different size filaments and intertwined to mimic down clusters. These ultrafine fibers trap warmth in air pockets, which uses grams per square meter. There are many competing brand names for synthetic insulation, which can be confusing. An easy way is knowing whether that the synthetic insulator is either short staple or continuous filament. Short staple are short strands of fine denier filaments that are densely packed to minimize heat loss. They are tiny fiber balls that closely mimic clusters of down. It feels soft and flexible, much like down, and it allows great compressibility. They're less durable than continuous filament, and the insulation moves around to create cold spots. Continuous filament insulation like Permaloft or Thinsulate use a thicker continuous filament that is lofty, durable, and strong, but tend to be a little stiffer and less compressible than short staple insulations. But they stay in place and less likely to create cold spots. And that's because it intertwines with itself to create a mass of insulating fibers. Another con for short staple insulation, it has to have baffles on the jacket to keep it in place. The stitching in between the baffles, like down, may cause a draft to come through because there's no insulation. With continuous filament, it's pretty much one flat piece of insulation that puffs up with no seams to create a draft. There's different thicknesses to create different warmth in jackets, but the more warmth you get in a synthetic jacket creates more weight, totally the opposite of down, which makes them heavier than down. Synthetic insulation is much more resistant to moisture. When it does get wet, it dries out a lot faster than down, especially when you put them in the sun or on a windy day. Synthetic insulation tends to be more friendly on the wallet, and it's also naturally hypoallergenic, which is a great alternative for people who are allergic or could have an allergic reaction to down. And where it's superior to down is when it gets wet, it still provides insulation, and it also tends to be more breathable than down. Synthetic insulation has a slightly higher warmth to weight ratio, meaning they have to be heavier to achieve the same warmth as down, which makes them heavier and bulkier. And it's also less durable than down. The insulation power gets reduced each time that jacket is stuffed in the stuff sack. Over the years, when compressing and lofting down in synthetic will lose its lofting capabilities faster over the years than down. Down has a higher life expectancy. Synthetic will break down and lose its loft over the years. There are some hybrids, down synthetic blends, which could provide benefits for both materials while limiting the imperfections of each material. For an example, you could have a sleeping bag with a synthetic bottom and a lofty down top. And there are some hybrid jackets that have both synthetic and down, which will help complement each other's pros and cons. So with all that being said, it's all about personal preference. Always do what works best for you. Where down shines, it's best used in cold and dry climates, where you are not going to experience any heavy rain, where it could lose its insulation ability if it gets wet, where activities are going to be more stationary, like at camp, where you're not hiking. In your pack, not on your back. Home sweet home. It's just amazing. Not me, the camp. Then the weight to warmth ratio not only makes it the best insulation for weight, but also it is incredibly compressible for carrying and storing in your pack. Where synthetic shines is staying warm in cold and wet climates. For moving activities where managing sweat is critical, which makes it versatile in any hiking conditions. When it's raining or wet, you can hike in them and stay warm. Even if it does get wet, it dries in a few hours. Plus, even when wet, it keeps you warm. For those adventures where comfort in adverse condition, where you don't have to worry about getting wet, is more important than weight. Well, I hope this episode was helpful and insightful when it comes to choosing a down jacket or a synthetic jacket. Well, this ends this episode. If you like this video, please hit that like button down below. It really does help this channel. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below and that little bell icon on the side there, and that'll notify you when the next episode is coming out. And if you have any questions or comments, please write them down below. I always love hearing from you guys. This is The Marine. Thank you for watching, and God bless.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden